That's what pisses me off. That pisses me off so much. It's just like all these mature games, like Counter Strike, COD, Gears, Halo. When the hell did kids, literal kids, start influencing the way the series is going?
Because the moment that the devs found out the parents are stupid and gullible.
It's so stupid. Like, why?
That
These games aren't for you. When did they
no
become for you? And when did your when did the opinions of an
9-year-olds
audience that is not supposed to be playing the game matter?
exactly.
When
And
did
it's like
those start mattering?
coming from the man who literally started his YouTube channel off of trolling videos against these kids, he still hates them. And it's like,
It's
but it's so true. It's like I worked at GameStop for one season in terms of a holiday season back in like 2014. I can't even remember how many M-rated games I sold to little kids because they were under the persuasion, like they persuaded their parents that this game wasn't as bad as what they thought. It's like before I was at GameStop, I worked at Toys R Us, and the funny thing is when I worked at Toys R Us, I was back of the house. All I did was I carried boxes to the back, to the front for people. I carried bikes. I moved heavy things. And there was one time somebody did an order online, so you had to go to a certain section, grab a certain thing, take it back, put it into a box, tape it up, and put a sticker on it. Done that. As I was doing this once, it was all about video games. So I was like, all right, cool. I'll go to, like, that section's kind of like my home. I'm like, I can do this. Grab a key from the guy who's working cash register, grab my game, and then out of nowhere, because I have the magic key to open the door to the games, everybody comes up to me.
mm-hmm.
And there was one woman that came up to me, and she was like, my son really wants that game over there. Grand Theft Auto 5. Look at it, grab the case, and I'm like, just so you know, I'm like, this game is meant for people of my age. And she goes, well, what's it rated M for? And I'm like, turned it around, and I'm like, blood, gore, violence,
Everything.
drug use, alcoholic, like nudity. And I'm like, you want your kid to play this? And they're like, and like, I remember I saw absolute terror in this little kid's eyes because he was able to get this, like, he was riding the gravy train. No one's gonna stop this
You
woman from
ruined
buying
that
stuff.
kid's day.
And then there's this random kid from back of the house just saying, "This game is not for you, little boy who's only
Fuck
7."
you, kid. You're not playing this.
Yeah, screw your feelings.
Back to the drawing board, kiddo.
And like, that mom was just like, "Yeah, I don't think that's good for him." I'm like, "No," and I'm like, "You know what's good for him?" Pointed to Skylanders, and I'm like, "That game," and he just glared at me, and I'm like, "Don't try to ruin my games." It's like, but I'm like, little kids just have their parents wrapped around their finger that like, this idea of this rating system is absolutely a sham, when in reality it's not.
Dude, that right there is the whole reason I just can't give any sympathy to the parents who are like, violent video games, they're influencing my children, like, violent video games. It's like,
There's a rating
are you
on it.
kidding me?
You should read it.
There's a rating system. There is everything you need to not let this happen. Like, I cannot sympathize with you in any way. I'm not sorry.
And it's like, it's the same thing when Deadpool dropped 2 years ago. I
Yeah,
remember
all the parents
opening
complaining.
weekend of Deadpool on the news. All it was these interviewers from ABC7 and NBC and CBS down in California going to movie theaters, and they're like, "Oh, so what movie did you see?" "Well, we saw that new superhero flick," and it's like, I didn't understand that it was the rating that it was, and they're like, you know, before every movie, and on top of that, in front of like the ticket booth, they inform you about the rating, right? And like,
I was
they
just,
will
I,
they will
I
it's
was
like
just
they will tell
laughing
you.
my ass off that whole week when Deadpool came out, and there were all these stories of like,
Of like,
superhero movies are going too far. Like, what are these movies doing to your kids? It's like, how about you don't let them watch it?
and it's like,
It
there's
is
a rating
only in
system.
theaters. They can only see it if you
If
take
you-
them. If this kid
exactly.
sees this movie, it is your fault. Take some fucking responsibility.
It's like, I was just like, and everyone's like, "Well, I mean, it's a Marvel movie though. It's a Marvel movie though," and they're like,
Yeah, so is
"Gotta read." It's
Blade.
like, where were you when Blade came out? it's like so many people just have like this connotation that like depending on what it is, it can't go to the length that they do.
It's
It's like
so
it's
stupid.
like it's like in Deadpool, it's like they push the boundaries. Like that was the highlight of that rating for superheroes. And then it bled into Logan, which Logan was phenomenal. And now Deadpool 2 comes out in a few months, and it's the same thing that in video games. It's like what was it? In GTA 5 there was the Trevor moment where Trevor was like waterboarding people and you had to choose how
Oh,
to handle this. It's like
when you
people
said the
people
Trevor
were
moment, I just thought of when he.
every
I
Trevor
I
moment.
just I just thought of his nuts.
It's like you just think of the entire game as the Trevor moment.
Maybe that's just me, but you said the Trevor moment, and I was like, oh, his balls, right? That's what he's talking about.
For sure. But it's like there's that moment. And it's like even in MW2, there's the very beginning, and it says there's a moment in
Oh
this game
yeah,
that might be some like disturbing to some people, and it's like Infinity Ward covered their butts in terms of like saying that came out, but it's like
oh my god, all the
then
people
when
who are like,
then they've
this
lost their
game is
mind.
so offensive. This game is going to be me 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 me. It's like before you started it, it
Yeah, it's like
told you
before
it was there. It gave
it's
you
like
every opportunity to not see it.
it's like it's like before the
no
game
one
even
is to blame
necessarily
but
booted.
you.
The game didn't even boot up, and there was this random message, like because I downloaded it on my computer after I got it on Steam. Like before it even like the Infinity Ward like little thing popped up, it said like there's a level in the game.
Listen, we gotta tell you about this
But it's
before
like
you go any further. Let me just let me lube you up a little
and
bit.
it's like we have to warn you now because if we don't warn you now, you're gonna lose it. And even then, we warned you, and you still lost it.
Yeah, I
But
think
it's
just like this whole like attack on video games and attack on the media. It all comes from parents just not wanting to be parents.
no, it's like I'll pin this on a lot of stuff. It's the fact that parents are out of the loop.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I
Parents
don't
have
even
zero.
blame a lot of parents for it, you know?
No,
There's two kinds of parents that are like contributing to this like war on video games. There's the parents who are out of the loop and don't understand new media. And then there's the parents who just don't give a shit and don't want to take responsibility for not giving a shit.
they just have to play the blame game because they're slowly becoming from our generation who don't like to do anything except play the blame game.
Yeah, there's these people who are, it's not my fault that my kid saw this thing. It's the thing's fault for existing.
Yeah, exactly. It's like it's not like I should actually treat my kid normal human values. Nonsense. That's what everybody else's job is.
Yeah, and I just
Hey,
I hate
and,
seeing the media actually give into this. Like I hate
hmm
seeing video games and movies actually give into that just cult.
and it's like even at Disney it's that way. It's like half the time when I was at Disney I felt like I was babysitting all the kids I was watching.
Yeah.
It's like cuz parents are just over there like drinking their soda. Oh yeah, they'll take care of my kid. This is technically just a giant daycare center that I spent over $600 on.
Yeah, no, I was when I forget, I think it was the Halloween event when I was Tigger at Disney. And there was this one family that came up and they had two kids literally like jumping on me, like jumping on my back, and the parents were like laughing and were just like, "Oh, that's so funny. Look at that." And I'm just like, "I'm a fucking person, okay? Like like these kids don't know, but you know."
Yeah,
But
it's
you're
like you're
just
old
you're
enough.
choosing not to acknowledge the fact that you know because it inconveniences you right now. And
And
that's
it's
what
like
this whole thing is. These like parents know, they obviously know there's graphic games out there. They know there's graphic movies out there, but they're not going to keep their kids away from it because it inconveniences them from getting drunk and fucking each other.
exactly why actually raise a kid when you have everybody else raise your kid?
Exactly. And then when your kid is all fucked up or when your kid is seeing something that he wasn't supposed to see in the first place, there's, you can't undo that. So you're not going to take responsibility. You're just going to attack the things because apparently it's their fault for existing and not your fault for not doing anything about it.
Exactly. And it's like it's it's so sad too because I'm like the parents that actually like take the time to teach their kid, those kids can do some cool stuff. It's like my buddy who I grew up like I lived next to his grandparents almost my entire life until like middle school, and like his mom took he and I oh god what was it? It was some movie and it was like some blank like superstar and it's basically this guy wanted to be a porn star and we
What a
wanted to
great
see
movie for kids.
and we wanted to see it and we're like it looks funny and at first she was like yeah well, sure whatever like she actually watched the trailers and she was like you guys know what this is about right we're like yes it's like she looked at her kid it's like you've seen nudity before he goes of course I have mom he's like 14 I'm like 16 and she's like all right whatever she goes and tries to buy the ticket and they're like we're not letting you win like we're not letting these two in unless you are with them. I sat there and watched this entire film about this guy trying to become a porn star with my best friend's mom. But at the same time, it wasn't even an awkward moment for us. Like we were just laughing the entire time because like it wasn't this taboo thing for her. It's like she deliberately was like, you guys know what like how kids are made, yes. So it's like that was good parenting, and because of that now it's like if I play with him online, randomly she'll start talking to me through the computer because she knows that I'm on the computer with him. Like, she's in the loop with her kid to the point where her kid does not feel like I can't talk to her about anything. While in so many of these cases, video games and movies and comics and TV shows, it's like so many parents are out of the loop because they think that these shows are supposed to always be wholesome and stuff, and I'm like, even the wholesome reboot shows aren't even wholesome anymore.
Teen Titans Go.
More like Fuller House.
I haven't actually watched that.
Me and my grandma, we watch Full House anytime it's on. Nick, if it's on Hallmark, whatever. It's like we will watch the OG Full House because the OG Full House was not scandalous. It was just a good show. And now in Fuller House, it's like the main character is still like the main cast from the main thing, like from the first show, but now they're all older. It's like DJ's trying to hook up with like 4 guys at once. They're talking about like all of these things, and I'm like, it's so lewd all the time. But it's like parents don't want to see it. They just see, oh, it's a reboot of the wholesome show. And it's like, it's not a wholesome show, dude. It's like, these shows aren't wholesome. It's like Walking Dead isn't even wholesome. It's like nothing is wholesome anymore. It's like everything is
Walking
blood.
Dead was never wholesome.
Oh, but at the same time, it's like some people are just like, well, it's fake. Well, it's fake. It's fake gore. It's fake violence. So it's like Walking Dead is all about the end of the world.
Where are the cries of "this is just fake" when you're attacking the things that you didn't want your kid to see?
Exactly.
You can't have it both ways.
No. And it's like, and that's why some people are like, the element of everything going on in the world today. I'm like, it's just the fact that parents don't want to step up and say that they're bad at their job. It's like when you are expecting to become a parent, it's like those kids have to come first, and you can't just go and say, you know what? Nah, man. It's like I see commercials sometimes, and it's like the more you're on your phone, the more likely it is your kid's gonna become a dropout because you aren't giving them attention because you're a bad parent.
Yeah, and as much as that is just like fear mongering,
it has some relevancy.
I can't even be mad about it.
It's like it has some relevancy here. It's like, come on. It's like, why don't you like? At work, a random guy came in because I work at an ice cream shop now, and he was bringing off like the carpets, and he was talking about video games to us because we were talking about something, and he was just like, some of the stuff that they say online, he's just like, my kid's only 10. He's like, nope. He's like, I honestly don't care. He's like, but at the same time, he's like, I'll play with him. He's like, I will sit there and I will play a few games of Call of Duty with him and explain things to him if like he ends up being a little off-centered. He's like, I'll take the time to teach my kid and write my kid.
There you go.
And I'm like, that's good parenting. It's like, why don't you
have to restrict kids from the media? You don't have to restrict them from entertainment, but you do have to own up to the fact that they're going to see shit that you don't want them to see if you just let them run free and you don't keep an eye on them.
And it's like, and you can't, and it's like, the fact too, when it comes back to video games, it's like, kids have them on a freaking tip of their finger of just saying, I want a new video game, because in reality, a parent hears they want something to keep them out of my hair, which means
Yeah.
I can go and do something, which means I don't have to parent.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
they'll just go and buy them whatever they want. So
And
that's why
then just companies start seeing that and start marketing to that, which
exactly
I still don't understand that. I still don't understand how that's like
the
allowed
thing
or legal. Like, kids that aren't supposed to be playing this game are now the prime audience of a
for
game,
the game
and they're
that they shouldn't
being
be playing.
marketed to, even though according to the rating system they're not supposed to be playing it.
No.
It's
And
like,
it's like,
Call of Duty so obviously markets itself towards the younger audience, and they've been doing it for years and years, and I don't know how they get away with it.
and it's like, I remember like Dead Space, sweet Moses, Dead Space. It's like that was never marketed towards kids, but at the same time, they made enough where they could make 2 more of them, and like a little mini spin-off. And it's like, I want to know how many parents actually went and got them Dead Space, because in reality they thought, oh, they play Call of Duty, it's the same rating, it can't be that terrible. Wrong.
Yeah, I have a lot of issues with the ESRB, just the way games are rated.
It's like, honestly, at this point, I would love to see the ESRB take the M rating and make it adults only, and just see how many parents start to like, their ears start to perk up when it's like, they want Call of Duty. Call of Duty is now required to be 22 and up. Period. All
No,
the time.
I wish the adults only rating, like, right now we have E, which is just going off of ESRB's.
Everyone.
Just going off of the ESRB's own words. E is for 7 and up. Then there's E10, which is 10 and up. T is 13 and up. M is 17 and up, and then AO is 18 and up. But the problem there's a problem with the problem with the AO rating is that the way that, like, the fact that it's reserved for like porno games, most retailers don't stock AO games
ever.
They just don't, because it's a rating that's like reserved for like porno games, and that's fine. Like, you know, have a rating for that. You know, whatever.
Yeah, please don't say no.
Yeah, but at the same time, it's kind of like, I don't want to say, it's like, dehumanized is the totally wrong word, but it's like, it's lessened the impact that the M rating should have. You know,
exactly.
The fact that M is so common, and it's like the most common rating, despite the amount of like variety of shit in the M rating, it makes it so like you said, you know, Halo 3 is M. I'll never understand why. That game's
violence
not bad.
and language.
But, like, because that game is M, there's a lot of parents who are like, oh, Halo's not a bad game. How about GTA? It's the same rating. Like, I feel like there needs to be something in between M and AO. Or I feel like AO just needs to be like the higher end of M, and then just have another rating for porno games. Like,
X, done.
Yeah, there, X. Make AO the 18 plus rating. Have that reserved for games like GTA, Dead Space, Gears of War, and then have another rating on top of that, like X for the porno games.
You're welcome, ESRB. We now
You're
fixed
welcome.
your issue.
We fixed your problem, and you're welcome, parents. We made your job easier.
And it's like, the moment that they were to actually do that too, because like you said, it's such a common thing to see M games everywhere.
M is just such a common rating. That's what I mean.
Like,
that's what I mean. It's like the M rating has lost its luster. No one's afraid of it anymore because it's everywhere.
So it's like, the ESRB should just go like, you know what? We should actually rebrand these games, because
that's like, what they did with the E10 rating.
Exactly.
I remember when the E10 rating came in, parents were complaining like, "Hey, this E game, like this rated E game was a little scandalous for my 7-year-old or my 8-year-old." So the ESRB was like, "All right, we'll put one in between E and T. I think there needs to be a rating in between M and AO."
Or you just make M, AO, and X, and you make
exactly.
AO be the new M.
You reduce AO from porno games to regular, really violent, gory games, and you make one on top of it. And
It's
you
like
talk to retailers and make sure they're all on the same page so they don't
mhm.
not stock your game, obviously. And
and
then
it's
there,
like
problem solved.
and it's like the first game that should have that rating, Red Dead 2.
No, that's gonna be a T.
Yeah,
That's gonna be an E10.
yeah, that's E10. You can do the dastardly thing all over again, where you go into a random saloon, high talk a girl, ride her out to the train, and let a train run her over, and you get an achievement. Because that's wholesome gaming right there.
That's great. That's great.
The fact that it was there was great, but at the same time, it's like Rockstar games should almost always be on the highest end of the spectrum, because at the same time, Rockstar don't care. They are their own beast.
Yeah, they don't care
Take
about offending people. And that's part of why their games are so good. They
it,
don't care about buying into agendas or
it
parents.
insert act man on World at War. F your feelings.
Yeah.
Like,
Dude,
but
Ackman's video on World at War was
so good. So good.
Because World at War doesn't give a fuck about your feelings. You're gay.
It's so good. But it's like the fact that like I really want them to change it. I want them to be like, you know what? Rockstar games from now on, all Rockstar game banners are going to be AO. And the new AO is now going to be X. And the new M is going to be underneath the normal M. But we're going to tag a new rating on, because it will get people to actually notice that it's a new rating.
Yeah.
It's like,
and then how about actually enforce the rating, please?
yeah. It's like actually
That's another problem. It's just the
Well,
fact that the M rating, you're supposed to only be able to buy it with a parent, but there's no enforcement on that. You can buy M-rated games off Amazon, like
with nothing.
No ID.
And even then, in the store too, it's as simple as a verbal agreement is how they sell it. I've had so many moments where I'm in line at GameStop and little kid with grandma's there. Oh, he really wants Grand Theft Auto. You know what's this rated for? Yeah. Oh yeah, of course he's seen all of it. Okay.
Sometimes the parent doesn't even have to be there. I remember when I first got Halo Reach, I went to get it, and the guy was like, this is M, right? And I was like, yeah, my mom's cool with it. He's like, all right. I was like, all right, cool. Thanks for not doing your job so I can play this for like 500 hours. I played the shit out of Reach.
Yeah, but it's like, I remember when Halo Reach came out, I actually did have to have my actual dad go with me. And my dad was like, what's it for? And I told him, and he was just like, you've seen worse?
Yeah, like, that's the problem, though,
Exactly.
That's the problem, is that Halo is like the low end of M. Same with even Call of Duty is the low end of M now. It didn't used to be, but now that Call of Duty's gotten soft, it is too.
And well, Halo became T at 5.
Yeah, that's the one thing I like respect 343 for, is like, at least you guys owned up to your audience and actually toned it down to T. Like,
even though it was always T.
Yeah, no, it's like Halo has never been a very mature game, and it's always had the kid player base. But at least you're not COD, that just like keeps the M-rated game but markets the shit out of the younger audience. At least Halo actually dropped the rating and just went all out with the younger audience.
Yeah,
at least you have some that's at least 343 has self-awareness to at least tone it down to get the T.
And at the same time, it's like it didn't hurt them at all. They had such a following where even
they made a shitty game, but
at the same time they still that's beside the point. But in terms of sales, it's still it was up there. Like they
was
sold,
it?
It was up. They made profit no matter what. They made.
Well,
profit.
I mean, they made profit, but I didn't think Halo 5 sold that well.
Well, whatever. But like you said,
I mean, point is they had self-awareness.
Yeah, it's like there's so many elements in terms of the rating system and in terms of everything, and so many things. It's like the ESRB is a joke. It's a sham. It was made back in like what, 2000, something like that.
No, before the 90s.
Was it?
It was in the
whatever
90s.
It was. There was a Did You Know?
It was during the
N60.
No, it was during the I think it was during the SNES era that it was introduced.
Because
it was like widespread adopted by the time the PS1 and N64 were out.
Yeah, and Doom was the first thing that got hit with that, I want to say.
Doom was one of the first M-rated games, like officially M-rated games. Yeah, I think it was Final Doom.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think that was the version of it that was stamped with M.
and it's just like that entire thing was made because of Mortal Kombat.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
it's like, and
That's
even
what's so funny to me though. It's just like we made this rating system
and they even
because kids were seeing things they weren't supposed to see,
and on top of that,
and now kids are still seeing things they aren't supposed to see because the rating system we made is not being enforced and it's not being respected by parents.
and
Like,
and and even
like
then, like
what more do you want from us?
and back in the day too, like that rating on Mortal Kombat that was enforced all day, all day long. That was enforced. That was the most enforced thing they did.
It's not anymore.
No, gosh, no.
When
But at the
when
same
I was
time,
in high school, I used to like not even like when I was like 13, 14, there was an arcade down the street from my school and we would just go play Mortal Kombat. There was no
yeah,
regulation.
not anymore. Like exactly, but it toned down after like the popularity surge.
I used to play House of the Dead at the arcade when I was like
Oh,
6.
House of the Dead, good stuff.
That's another thing that's funny to me is that the ESRB started from arcade games, but like arcades are not regulated in any way,
No, gosh,
not at
no,
all. So it's funny to me that like the root of the quote unquote problem was never actually solved.
no. And it's like so many things need to be done, really, in terms of all of that. It's like they just so many things.
So many things.